Greetings and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we will be doing some gameplay from the game Raiders of the Deep, U-Boats of the Great War 1914 to 18, a solitaire game where you command, as you can probably guess, U-Boats during the First World War or the Great War. And it runs 1914 to 18. We will be doing a campaign, and I'm going to actually let the game system determine that. So we're going to get right into setup here, and then hopefully get a couple, maybe a couple of patrols under our belt here in the first video, which will become a series depending on how well it is received by you guys, the viewers. The game comes with an assortment of dice. I have a dice pad I'm going to use here. We'll move that out of the way for the moment. I'll put this over here because we're going to have to open this up, right? And right on the inside here, give you a quick look. Over here, you have your German start date chart. Now, you can also play as the Austro-Hungarians. I am going to play as the Germans. You have the U-boat number chart that you would roll first, or second rather. So we're going to roll this one first. So it says you can either pick a date and a U-boat type, but we're going to roll for it. So for the first, the date of our first patrol, we're going to roll a D6 and a D10. So let's do that. So I'm going to take one of my D10s and a D6, and we're going to roll. We got a 22. 22. All right, so 2-2 is December of 14. Then we're going to roll 2d6, and we're going to find out a 2 to 7 will get us a U5 type, and an 8 to 12 will get us a U19 type. So let's see what we get. We got a 5. I almost said 7, but that's a 5. That is a U5. That is your base U-boat here. So this is the U5 card. And as you can see, it's available August 1914, so start of the war. Very basic kind of entry-level one. It can only do patrols, British Isles, and Baltic Sea. Okay. Next up, we roll for our U-boat number. So we are type U5, so we're going to be rolling right on this first chart right here. And we're going to roll dice as indicated. So it looks like we're rolling a D10, and we're going to be looking in the very top row here, because we are starting in December of 1914. So we'll take our D10 here, and we got a 0, and that is an asterisk. What does the asterisk mean? Asterisk means re-roll, okay? 7. That is the U-17. And the color indicates which flotilla we get attached to. And that flotilla is the 2nd flotilla and patrols only around the British Isles. And it actually lasted the entire war. Okay, so we are in flotilla 2, which will be important for when we roll our missions. Next, we will roll for our German commander name. Now, I was going to pick a name, but let's roll it out and see what we get. So you roll 2 D6s, and you just take the 2 numbers together. You got a 5 and a 2. Well, let me redo this. Let's roll 1. That's a 2. And let's roll the other one. That's a 4. So 2-4 is Eugen. Now we'll do the same for the last name. So I'm going to roll 1 first and get a 6. And then the second one, we got a 3. 6-3 is Fawn. So we're a Fawn something here. Then we roll down here to get our last name. And again, it's 2 6-sided dice. So we'll roll the first one first to get our first digit. It's a 1. It's a hard thing to roll 1 die when you have 2 in your hand. 1-4. 1-4 is von Bothmer. So Eugen von Bothmer is the name of our U-boat commander. Another thing you can do is get a background story for your commander, right? This is kind of like a role-playing type of thing. It's kind of cool. So there's a 20-sided die you use for this. Here it is. So let's roll this, and we got a 4. Born on the 19th of December, 1888, the son of a professor at Lippstadt, he entered the Kaiserliche Marine in 1907 and 1910. He served on the cruiser Bremen in 1911. He served at the 1st Matrosen Division at Kiel, specializing in torpedoes. That is our background. With our game, we get a nice log here, log sheet, with quite a few copies that we can use. We can also photocopy these as we need them later on. So I'm going to enter in our information. We're going to start here in December 14. And we'll roll for our missions and everything. And I'm going to enter in our information up top. I do need to roll for my rank as well. I just remembered that. This is actually located in the rulebook on page 18. It is right here. Starting rank. Players start the game at either Leutnant zur See, Oberleutnant zur See, or Kapitän Leutnant rank. Roll 1d6 and consult chart. All right. 5. That makes us a Kapitän Leutnant. Okay, so that is our rank. I'm going to fill out my form, my log sheet rather, off camera. Save time. Back in a sec. Okay, so U-boat type U5. Our ID is U17. We are Eugen von Bothmer, Kapitän Leutnant. And we will be starting here in December of 14. I'm just going to tick next to that. Over here on our submarine mat, I have not yet put our torpedoes in, but I put my mark of rank here. Our crew starts trained. And that's really it. We do have our sub marker here, which we will move along these boxes as we patrol. As our flotilla may only patrol the British Isles. That is why I am leaving that on there. This purpley one is for the Baltic. So let us begin regular gameplay here. So the first step of the sequence of play is your determined patrol assignment, as we will already know ours. It says so right here. This is chart P1, which is what you referred to. Patrols only around the British Isles. So we know we're going to visit the British Isles. Okay. So we're going to put our marker beside the first travel box, which is right here. Okay. I'm just going to, honestly, because there's 2 transit, then the 3 areas around the British Isles, and then 2 transit, you could probably start on this end, right? We're in port, and we can say, but I'm going to go left to right because that's just kind of how I usually roll. All right. So we enter our assignment on our patrol log. Now, conduct patrol. Check for encounters for travel box occupied by consulting the current encounter chart. That is E1, which is this one right here. Right, so in transit, you'll be rolling in this column. Then you get British Isles, we'll be rolling in this one. So that's all we have to worry about, unless and until we get a different kind of boat, and then maybe we can go somewhere else, the Channel or the Med or the Black Aegean or Baltic Sea, one of those. I will put this here, and we're on the top. And I'm actually going to put this here. And we're just going to roll 2d6s and add them together. We got an 8, so we were in this first box. We got nothing there, so we'll go to the second box. Roll again. We got a 6, which is still nothing. Now we'll go into the British Isles. So now we're in this column. And we get an 11, which is 2 ships. So we have our first encounter of the game. Okay, so looking at our chart here, we see that we got 2 ships because we rolled a 10. Actually, no, we rolled an 11, didn't we? Looking at that, that's an 11. So that would be a capital ship. Oh boy. Okay. So when I thought we rolled for 2 ships, you would then roll to determine the ship sizes. 1 to 5, you roll 1d6. 1 to 5 is a small, 6 is a large freighter. Okay. So since we have to roll for a capital ship, that changes things a little bit. Here in our U-boat and target roster booklet, Here we have our 1914 targets, capital ship target roster. To determine ship target, no die roll is necessary. These three ships travel together. They may be attacked simultaneously as with a convoy. If one or two are sunk in the encounter, the others are available for a later encounter. So we will be facing three 12,000-ton ships, the Aboukir, the Cressy, and the Hogue. And so this could be somewhat interesting here. But now we'll go through our combat sequence. As we prepare for combat, I wrote my targets in here. The three ships, Aboukir, well, HMS Aboukir, HMS Cressy, and HMS Hogue, all 12,000 pounds. I'm going to remove this from the shot. We're going to put our combat mat in here. Let me slide this over a little bit, make room. And I'm going to put my targets here. So here's Aboukir. Here is Cressy. And Hogue. Okay. Now here on my submarine mat, I have my tubes. The forward torpedo tubes, we only carry 6. So we have, and that's denoted up here, torpedo load 6, and the 2 types, or 3 types, 2 each. We have G6 steams in the front. We have in the aft, we have CO6 steams. And there are no reloads for the aft torpedoes. And then our forward reloads, we have 2 C-3591s, compressed air. So we're going to fire our G6 first. And probably we'll also, well, we have to, first things first, we need to get set up here for combat. So now that the combat mat is out, we'll talk about what we need to do here, because we'll have to do things like determining day, night, surfaced or submerged. We will be submerged. What range, and so on. So let us choose our target here. So we're going to fire both tubes forward only at the Aboukir. Once we do that, now the other things we need to do is surfaced or submerged. We will be, submerged. So I'll put that there. You have to attack capital ships submerged, because in a gunfight with a 12,000-ton warship, your submarine would not fare very well. Everything defaults to day. And our range, let's get in close and go for close range. Okay, so now this says combat versus escorted ships. Well, I guess we're supposed to roll for day night, so we'll do that. I forgot to do that. It's a 3, so that is day. Okay, actually I should leave this here. Let me move this up a little bit to get a little bit more of this in the shot. There we go. Okay. D10 as well. Okay, so second, determine ship size. We could skip because we know it's a capital ship. If capital ship, ID ship, and proceed to step 4, select range. So we're going to do close range. Select escort. Check for escort detection. I don't think they have escorts. I can't find it in the rules. It's probably in here somewhere right under my eyes, and I can't find it, but I don't see that it says that capital ships are escorted. I could roll for it to see if I'm detected. It would have to be a 10 plus. Let's just see. I'll probably roll an 11 or something. I rolled a 10. Well, like I said, I don't think, it doesn't say that they're escorted, so I'm going to assume they're not. And here you can see 3 which we had to skip here. Non-capital ships you can roll a d6 to try to switch to night. So let's go to step 5, select submerged attack. We are submerged. Assign torpedoes, I did that. Fire torpedoes. Okay, so we're going to look at U1, which is right here. Okay, and you can see we roll 2d6, 0 to 8 from close range is a hit. Then you've got die roll modifiers. That does not apply. That does not. That does not. No, 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 and no. It also says G6 may be used at all ranges. Okay. We got a 5. So a 5 would be hit. Now I'll roll for the second one. That one is a 7, which is also a hit. Okay, now you have to check for duds. So you have your dud chart, 1914. These are G6s, so a 1 or a 2 would be a dud. I'll just roll both dice. It doesn't really matter if one is a dud. Well, I mean, in terms of dice rolling, neither of them were a 2 or a 1. So no duds. Now we check damages. Okay, we roll 1d6. Okay, and we don't have any die roll modifiers. So we're going to roll for each torpedo. I'll roll them together again. And we got a 5 and a 6. So they're both going to be 1 damage. Okay, so the Abakir takes 2 damage. And these are expended. Okay, and then we continue down here. Escorts attempt detection. It doesn't say that they're escorted. Undetected U-boat subsequent actions. Sorry. The encounter ends if everyone's been sunk. Obviously not the case. If any targets were damaged, U-boat may automatically follow. If following, determine if targets are still... Oh, right there. Capital ships are always escorted. Okay. So now that we've seen that, I'm going to ask for your beneficence in saying that that first roll of a 10 was not a 10. Let's say it was a 7. Just because I've already gone past that point, but now we will roll for detection again. Okay, so escorts attempt detection. Decide if U-boat will exceed test depth. We will not. Roll for detection by escorts on the E2 chart. We got a 4. And here's our E2 detection chart. So we got a 4. Now let's look at the modifiers. We don't have any of these. We get a +1. That would make it a 5. We get another one for the torpedo, makes it a 6. No. We're at close range. That makes it a 7. We did not fire both forward and aft, and we didn't do either of those. So it's still a 7, which means we were not detected. So that means we get to shoot again. So we'll take our 2 reloads here. And reload our submarine. Okay. Detected U-boat is rammed or depth charged. We know that that's not going to happen. So now we're going to go back to the top, I believe. Return to step 8. But that's if detected U-boat is rammed. Undetected U-boat subsequent action. Okay, so we did damage, which means that we get to follow, I believe. If any targets were damaged, detected U-boat, there's no thing for detected U-boat that is not... Oh, we were undetected. What am I talking about? We were not detected. Okay. If escorted damaged ships stay together, return to step 1. Okay, so we got to roll for day-night again. And it's day still. Then the ship size, we don't have to do that. If day, we can't do that. Switch. So we're going to go to 4. We're still at close range. Let's drop back to medium range. We'll drop back to medium range. So we're going to roll for detection. We got a 10, so that's probably going to be detection. 9 to 11 is detection. And obviously we have some in here that would make it detection anyway. Okay, so now we have escort air attack, escort/air attack chart. So for escorts here, let's see what we've got. We roll 2d6. Do they even have depth charge yet, though, or would they ram us? Maybe they would ram us. Ramming attack, U-boat detected on the surface, so no. For every depth charge attack after the first. Do they have depth? I guess we're playing that they have depth charges. Maybe they do by that point. So we're going to roll here to see what we get. We got a 5. 5 is 1 hit. Now we have to roll to see what that hit did to our U-boat. Here's our U-boat damage chart. So we're going to roll. Oh, we have to roll on the damage chart first down here. I forgot about that. Okay, so we're going to roll our 2. Well, I guess we need to roll a 1 and a 2. That is flooding. Okay, so for flooding, right here, place or advance flooding in box. When all boxes are flooded, U-boat must blow ballast. Following combat round, roll to check for additional flooding. Okay, so our flooding marker is right here. I have it off to the side. I can pick it up. It's right here. We're going to put that on this box here. Okay, and then after the round, okay, now we would roll to see if we can ameliorate our flooding here. 1 to 4 will be a flooding is stopped. And we got a 5, which means additional flooding. I'm going to move that there. Then we would go back to 8 to see if they detect us again. And they would with that roll. So they're going to attack us again. And it's a 6. And a 6 is another 1 hit. So now we roll for the, see what the hit is. It's a 36. Deck gun. Okay, so we do have a deck gun. I'll put a damaged marker on. Okay, I put my damage on it. I put a couple ammo in there. The ammo's unlimited, but you can still use it. All right, so I think what we're going to do here is, now that we've taken damage again, if flooding occurred, roll 1d6 to stop additional flooding. All right, let's do that. It's a 5, which again is going to increase the flooding again. So up to there. Then we return to step 8 to check for escort detection. We got a 5 that time, I think, maybe. So here. Okay, so we know 8 or less is undetected. Close range. So no, we don't have that. So none of these account, the fuel, none of that's, we do get a +1, that's a 6. That's a 7. Previously detected, that's an 8. So again, that would be the last thing we could get. We're not at close range. Okay, so we are actually undetected now. So we will now end the encounter and leave, basically, because I only have my aft torpedoes left and taking on 3. So all 3 of those ships survive, which means they are eligible to become targets again later. And I'm going to slide this guy out of the way for the moment. And I'm going to put here that no, well, we know we didn't do anything to any of these, so I'm not going to mark anything on there. All right, so let's move on to our next box here. All right, okay. So once combat ends, we can remove the flooding marker. Now we need to roll for our deck gun. So we're going to roll 1d6, and on a 1 or a 2, it's fixed. It's a 5, so it remains inoperable. So I'm going to flip this over to inoperable, and we now have a broken deck gun, which really limits our ability to do anything because we have 2 torpedoes in the aft tubes and nothing else. Okay, so now that we're here, we have to roll for encounters again. And here, where is that chart? Here it is. All right, so we're again in this area here. So I'll put this here. We're going to roll again. And we got a 7, which is nothing. We're going to move to the next box. We'll roll again, and we got a 10, which is 2 ships, but no escort. 2 ships, no escort. Okay. So we first need to determine what these ships are. So we're going to again look at our target roster here, and they're not warships, although they may be armed ships. We've got 3 possibilities here. So 1, 2, and 3 are small freighters, it looks like, and the other 3 are warships. So let's see what we get here. I rolled a 5, so that would be HMS Niger. And I am going to... that's a smaller ship. Let me see how much damage it would take to sink it. It does not have its own counter, which I think means it's just a small freighter since it's under 5,000 tons. And it takes 2 hits to sink a small freighter. The difference with this one being that it's armed. So I would have to attack it submerged. And there is no escort. So I think this time I can go close range without worrying about getting attacked. So that is what we will do. I'm going to move this back out of the way. Take this and put it here. Lost my little rank mark there. Right, our target here is the small freighter. You can see the 2 means it takes 2 damage to sink it. Okay, so now we're going to start at the top again. Take that off. And I'll take this off for the moment, and we'll take the day-night marker off as well. Let's roll. It's a 5. That means it's nighttime. Okay. So nighttime, we will still attack submerged, and we will attack from close range. Okay. Then we roll, let's see. Select range at close range, check for escort detection. If not detected at close range or not using close range, continue to step 5. You know what? I'm going to go medium range just to be safe. We're going to fire our 2 aft torpedoes. That's all we've got left. Our deck gun is busted, so we can't use it. So we're going to take a crack at this, and then if we don't sink them, we're going to slink away and go back home. All right, so let's roll here. Fire torpedoes. We got a 3. And a 3 is a hit. So the first one hits. Now let's try again. And we got a 6, and that is also going to be a hit. We do have a night attack. Okay. And we don't have any of these. Right? Oh, those were C6 and at medium range. So that would be a +1. It's still both a hit. These 2 would cancel each other out, and they were both under 7. So those are 2 hits. Now we have to roll for damage and hope we do enough damage to sink it, right? So low numbers would be good here. So let's roll 1d6. We got a 4. That is 1 damage. So he's going to slide down 1. Then we're going to roll again the other hit, and it's a 2, which is 3 damage. So that will actually sink him because he sinks here at 2. So we did successfully sink our ship. So I'm going to note that on our log. Okay, so I have noted that on the log here and circled it. HMS Niger, 800 tons, successfully sunk. Now let's roll our way home here. Okay, we got a 7. That is nothing. Right, because now we are in, that was our, actually this was, we're here. That is nothing. Then we have 1 more. It's a 5. That's also nothing. And we go back to port for refit. So a quick correction here. I didn't look at this before while we were actually having combat, right? We would not have been depth charged. We could have had a ramming attempt. Could take up to 2 minutes for a U-boat to submerge, so ramming was an effective ASW. So, I mean, I guess we probably wouldn't have taken any damage because we were already submerged when we attacked. So in this case, and there were no depth charging until March of 16. So note for future self, we'll say we did take flooding and damage, but it was a good example of how depth charging would work, even though it was not appropriate in this particular situation. Okay, so we get back home. We get a month of refit. You can fix 2 systems. Now, technically, this should not have been damaged, but I'm going to take that off because it's only the only system that was damaged. The flooding is taken care of. Hull damage is a little bit more serious and adds additional time to your refit if you take it, or take enough of it. So we made it back. We sank 800 tons. We would write an R in for our next month because it's a refit, and after every patrol you have a 1-month refit. So that is going to do it for this video. I don't want to go too long. I will do another one regardless of whether you guys ask for it. I'm going to do a second one, see how things go. Maybe we can get 2 patrols in instead of just 1, and maybe I won't mess up. But that's typical for me. Hopefully you learn as I learn, or if you already knew, that's good too. But anyway, we're done for now. Thank you for watching. Thanks, and shout out to my channel members who help support the channel. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, there is a join button on the player. You can click that and get to watch a video. It's like 4 minutes that explains what is involved with that. Totally optional, no big deal either way. Another thank you to my subscribers, and an ask of you from me to like, share, or if you're not a subscriber, maybe consider subscribing, or perhaps even do the newest thing, which is hype the video, which gives it a little boost and makes YouTube's more likely to show it. That's kind of the deal there. So thanks again for watching. I'll be back with more from this game here in the next few days. But until then, I'm Joe. This is Hexed Encountered, and as always, happy gaming.